What's happening, squad?
What's happening?
What up?
Hey, Mike, I stole your 10-6.
Oh, yeah. How do you know about 10-6?
I was on there. I watched it last week.
Oh, nice. What'd you do with it?
I did. I had a quick sales meeting a little while ago, and I changed it to 10-4.
Love it.
So, because 6 was a little bit too much for me, but 10-4, like a CB. And we got to do. I talk to 10 buyers a day, and I take 4 pre-quals per week. So that's
I
what
love
I'll
it,
let you
dude.
know.
I'm glad you did that. And actually,
Whenever I steal something, I gotta let you know.
Thank you for letting me know what you're stealing. That's wonderful. I'm so happy about it. And actually, it's a perfect segue into some things that I want to talk about today, which is change management. I know we talked a lot about before chef, but I want to reiterate some of this because I actually was telling I forget who I was telling, somebody yesterday, where I was like, yeah, I have a lot of people that have been like in the program and gone to this training 100 times. And then one day I was like, what's chef? And not everybody knew the answer. And I was like, oh, fuck. Not everybody knows this shit. So I want to talk a little bit more about chef to make things happen. All right. So let's do that. And I will do this. It's nice that I have this advocate client right now because I have a lot of like, show you guys sort of like live stuff that I'm doing. All right. So you want to make something happen in your business. You need everybody to make a single change. I'm going to tell you what happened with Advocate, and I'm going to bring this into your world. Okay. So we are like, we need to hit our number. We're way behind. I talk to 100 people. I get 200 ideas. It's doors. It's skills. It's will. And the challenge too is you talk to the sales reps and they're like, it's technology. It's slowing me down. I talk to leadership and they're like, it's the reps, they're all dumb. And the reality is it's probably somewhere in between, right? It's probably a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. But the answer is always going to be what's simplest, because we're not AI where you can be like, keep these 35 things in your mind and give me these 50 outputs moving forward for the next 10 years whenever I use this chat. So I feel like humans can only really keep 2 things in mind. Like I know we always say 3, like 3 is this magic number. I actually think it's 2. Yeah. So we want to simplify the request. We want to simplify the to-do. And this is what allows people to actually do the things. So when I thought about will and skill and technology problems for Advocate, for example, I'm like, how do I combine all of these? Waiting. No, it's all fucking bullshit. Has no damn bitches anyway. So I'm trying to think about will and skill. How do I combine these things? And so what I looked at was what is the input that we need? So I was like, for them, it's doors. For you, it's leads. Okay. Maybe it's visitors. Maybe it's deals. I don't know. But so the first thing I look at is, can we get to the number we want to get to just by increasing leads? And the answer to that is typically no. It's like it'll be too expensive, or like our ad is not going to, or our ad costs are not linear. It's not as though we put in 10% more, we get 10% more leads necessarily. For this company, it's doors. So originally I was like, let's just all hit 60 doors because that's how they do marketing. And there's a problem with that because they're like, no, people hate just looking at doors. It sucks. In your world, this might be like, no, I can't get everybody to do more outbound. This is the best we can do. Okay. But I look at one variable, inputs. Can we get to our target with one variable changed? No. So then I look at another variable, which is going to be throughputs. And the throughputs for this company, I looked at all of the conversion rates. Here, I'll show you guys some cool stuff. If any of this stuff is over your head or confusing or weird, just let me know. So let me do here, it's like easier to make it this big. So just in your world, think this is like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5, stage 6, closed one. Like percent of stage 1s and move to stage 2, percent of stage 2s and move to stage 3, to 4, to 5, to 6. Okay. This is their 100 score basically. So I looked at this and I looked over time and I was like, these numbers here are pretty, like I asked people, hey, 50%, is that about right? And they're like, it could get to like 55, maybe. They were like, this is kind of high, if anything, So I looked at, obviously 148 is more than whatever. So I'm like, okay, so out of all these numbers, there's only one number that came clear, could be changed. And it's this number. This is the percent of the time that I talk to a human, that human allows me to go to stage too. Or in their world, percent of the time I talk to a human where they agree, yes, you can inspect my roof. So for you, this might be like percent of times that you get to tech eval, talk to a VP, something, right? All these other variables, I'm not going to be able to impact them. So I'm like, if the problem is a input problem, we can just do more doors. The amount of doors we need is too high. If the problem is a throughput problem only, so I'm trying to simplify and have it be one problem, ideally, and we can get this number to what we believe is the highest number it can be, which would be 30%. Does that solve our problem? No. We'd still have a gap. Okay. So now what I have to do is I have to balance these out. So I sat with the teams and I'm like, what is a reasonable number of doors you can do? Or in your world, might be going to marketing. With the budget you have, what is a reasonable number of leads you can generate? Or the sales team you go out, what's a reasonable number of more outbound leads the sales team could generate? And I got to a number. And then I said, well, what's a reasonable number of percent of inspections we can get? I got to a number. And what this then gave me is now I've got a skill and will issue resolved by saying there are two things we need: opens, human to talk to, and inspections, human who we talked to that agreed to do an inspection. So I say all this to say, I'm trying to simplify the problem into one. So I looked at just inputs, looked at just outputs, saw it's a combination of both. And that's why you see Chris saying, hey, Mike, I'm using yours 10-6. For me, I now know for sure, because I did the math, if each person gets 10 opens, 10 inspections, we all hit our target. The 6 is a side note where they were like, some people actually don't do inspections, others do inspections, so we can't just do 10, because if we do 10, half the company will be like, I don't even do those things in the first place. They do claims. So I did the reverse math to figure out how many claims I needed, and it was 6. It's all the same shit. So it's 10-6. You either need to hit 10 inspections or 6 claims. If you do either one of those things, I know by math that the percent that moved to here, the percent that moved to here, blah, 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 we get to our number. So I'm simplifying it down to 10-6. That's the first thing I'm doing, is simplifying the problem. I work with someone today who showed me solutions to their problems, and it was like a 2-page paper with 6 items in it. And I'm like, this will never happen. And then in the end, we got down to 2 items, and the 2 items are basically like training and accountability stuff. Okay, so you simplify it down. That is step 1 for change management. Step 2 is you want to make it a thing, and step 3 is you want to track it. Okay, I'm going to come out of here for a second to say, if I want to get everybody to do 10 calls, start doing outbound, say this one phrase on a call, whatever, I can just tell everybody to do it, and then they're only going to do it when I'm around. I can get them bought into the idea, which I did, and I'm like, hey guys, like, here's the math and blah, blah, blah. And some of them did it, and some were like, I don't really fucking care. So how do I get people to do something when I can't sit with them all day? The way you do it is you make it a thing. Okay. Even nobody has told any of you guys that you have to do fireworks on the 4th of July. It's never been told to you ever, but we all do it because it's a thing. All right. How do we make it a thing? It's all over the place. It's like that before 4th of July, we're like, hey, look at the thing. So the purpose of making it a thing, whether you give it a name or otherwise, we'll talk about some ways to make it a thing in a second, is so that it happens without you needing to manage it. One of the things I always want is people who are in my program to not have to work harder than anybody else, because you shouldn't have to remind everybody 10 times, 10-4, 10-4, 10-4, 10-6, 10-6, 10-6. We make it a thing, and then they just fucking do. Okay. Last thing I'll say, how you make things a thing. I'm going to ask a question, and hopefully this will prove my point. Lee, I'm going to ask Lee and James a question. Lee, what was your hometown, like when you went to high school, what were your team's colors?
Black and gold.
Black and gold. And what was your rivals' colors?
Ooh, they were blue and white.
Blue and white. Mine too. James, how about you?
Red and gray and green and yellow.
Cool. And what's like the vibe of your town versus the vibe of their town? Like, are you guys the rich town and they're the poor town? Are you guys like the nice ones, they're the tough ones? Like, what's the deal?
They were the rich ones. We were the blue collar.
Cool. Sweet. How about you, Lee? I'm curious.
Yeah, we were the farm boys.
Sweet. So thank God you guys just proved it here, right? So it's like if I'm driving through your town and then I'm driving through their town, I'm willing to bet that strip malls just happen to use blue and white in their town. And some of the shirts I see people walking around in are gray and red in their town. And people might, if I brought up that town name, people might be like, yeah, well, they're a bunch of fucking rich kids, right? So there's a thing about them. You don't even have to know or meet any of them. And already I'm going to think of them and treat them differently. If I met you and it was like, yeah, that's blue, I know the rich kids. Now I'm going to go over there, I'm going to have a whole new thought in my mind how they are. Okay, cool. So that's stuck in your mind. You guys are now in your 30s, I think. Maybe, I don't know how old you are actually, and you still know this shit, right? So the point is here, this is what we want to do in the organization. So how do we make this thing happen? How do we make it so that everybody, when they see 10-6, they think, fuck those rich kids or whatever the thing is, okay? Like I got to do outbound or whatever. Here's some things that we do. Chris showed us one thing that you do, which is you put it in your Monday mashup and you have it called whatever, 10-6 or something. Share my screen anyways. Some other things that we did, I made a thing called Operation 10-6. This could also be in your mashup. Saying like, hey, if you hit 10 or 6, and this last one's not important, this is what I'm going to do. And if you don't, here's what I'm going to do. And if you're a manager, here's what I'm going to do. And if you're a manager and you miss, here's what I'm going to do. That's one thing I'm doing. I made a different leaderboard, scorecard, which instead of showing like the numbers like you guys have in your HQ doc or whatever, I just turned it into a hit or miss. Did you hit it or did you miss it? That's all that fucking matters. When I talk to the reps in their one-on-ones, I only look at these 3 numbers. 10. Well, this is the entire company, so let me just go to a rep. 10, 6. The other one is 2. When I think I even put each, when I have a week review where I have the reps tell me what they should be doing next week, all I have is inspections and claims. Other things people on the team are doing, they have like a whiteboard in the office. And so they just wrote like 10-6 on top of the whiteboard. One, they have a leaderboard that they already use. And they're like, now I've got a 10-6 leaderboard. Another guy changed the group text, the name of the group text thread to 10-6. Another guy, he sends like a daily, like, here's how we did or whatever thing. He changed the name of it to like the 10-6 something, like whatever. And then in it, it's like, here are all the 10-6 winners for the week. When we give feedback, I'm now like, it prioritizes, we're prioritizing 10-6. These are the kinds of things that make this work. Now, this is 60 people, 60 sales reps. They're door knockers. To give you an idea of like retention and shit, we lost 7 people last week. So they're like in and out, all on their phone, almost pretty minimally in the office. Usually they go to the office like for like an hour in the morning. They're all in different regions. So I have everything stacked against me to make this not work. In 5 days, I've come back and even the reps now are talking about it. Because I'm amazing? No. Because I made it simple. Because I made it memorable. 10-6 is kind of like easy to remember. And then I just put it everywhere. And so everyone's like, I get it. I got it. I know what it is. All right. Cool. Comments, pushback, or anything like that. All right. Now, I don't want to leave that there. That seems like a nice spot to finish that. All right. That's 10-6. That's change management. Sorry. That is the C in change management. I've clarified that. There's not a single person in the company doesn't know how to do it, or what their goal is, rather. Okay. For H, help for change management. My phone? No. For help for change management, I'm running trainings every single day of the week, and I'm having it done by a different manager. So it's not like so many, like I got to run 5 trainings. I'm not doing any of the trainings. I have each manager running the training. For help, what else are we doing? I guess this is kind of follow-up, but I'll say for help, we're going to use, if you remember, I got these coins made that say like advocate on them. So we can give them, they're kind of like challenge coins. Coins made. I got postcards printed out so we can like write little handwritten notes. So those are going out to help motivate them. Also, there's a leaderboard that we're looking at. Also to help motivate them, I have created another leaderboard. This is just me showing cool stuff now, so fuck me. But I also just created this, which is like, it's a bad example. Let me just do the whole company so you can see more info. So in here, like now on the leaderboard, it shows like any time that they've like moved up a leaderboard for inspections. If their number, they become the number 1, number 10 in the company. If they get feedback, like I think one of these guys got feedback, or they won like a challenge. So I have this. in here now too to help motivate them to want to do those things. So that's cool. The other thing I did for help was I've now I trained the managers on like if they're having trouble with not seeing the point of like, why do I got to do this? I created a calculator for the managers so they can be like, hey man, the 10-6 is like what Manzi is saying, but like here's how it impacts you personally. The managers told me that, hey, I'm not sure they're going to be good enough at it. So we have the training. And then some managers were like, I don't really know once I've run a training, if they still stink, what do I do? And so I created a coach's room. So on Fridays, anybody who stinks, anybody who has a rep in their team who's not hitting 10-6 has to come to the coach's room. In the coach's room, we're like, who in your team stinks? Joe. And then we talk about Joe as a group to be like, how do we make Joe better? So we're like curating that. You'll notice here, like a good amount of this stuff I'm not doing, right? Like I'm off, whatever, outsourcing the training. I'm outsourcing a lot of shit with the app here. So like a lot of stuff I'm going to out. Okay. All right. And then for follow-up, there's a couple things that are really important here. What I tell everybody is you need like 2 backstops for every change you want to make. Meaning right now you tell the team, I need you guys to hit 10 jobs, whatever the hell the number is, right? You have a mental reminder, follow up with everybody in the one-on-one. A week from now, you've gone through 3 meetings. And in those 3 meetings, you were told, make sure everybody fills this little field out. Can you remind everybody not to send their requests for time off into this system, send it in that system? And then also someone had a good idea that like, if you call people after 5, you actually get more pickup. So you have those 4 things in your head. Now you do that for 3 months. Now you got 4,800 things in your head to just remember. So the chances that you remember it are 0. Chances they remember it are less than 0. So what do we do? So I have 2 backstops. So the first thing I do, you guys have heard me say this before. First thing I do when I want to make any change or anything is happening in an organization, I have to remember, assume you have no memory. First thing I do is I go to the Monday mashup. I go to the Monday mashup that I've got pinned to my browser, and I just write this shit in. I'm like, what did we just do? So I might be like, whatever. Heck, I just did this too. I'll do this. This was after a meeting we just had. I'll copy and paste that. That's reminder number 1, or that's backstop number 1. Backstop number 2 is I have this. There's a thing I want them to do every day. I've got 2 of them. Backstop number 3, I have an L10. So I have a meeting with all the managers. And so all the to-dos I want them to do are right here. If there's something that comes up, I'll put it as an issue. Backstop number 4, I have that coach's room. So down here in the you can't. Down here in the coach's room, there are certain people who aren't doing well. So I have written like what we're going to do to help them. So I have 4 backstops for really just 2 things, 10-6. And that's the only way that this is actually going to happen in any. Sure, if I had one other person on my team, I could get this to be done tomorrow. But I have 78 people total who have to know this stuff. And they have to know it today. So these are the things I'm doing for clarifying, helping, and following up. So, Mike, what do I do with this? My take to you guys right now is first, is there some big thing you're looking to change? The first thing we typically do is we have an immediate solve for these 10,000 things. Take a zoom out and think of all, if I was hired today, what would be the one thing I would change or the 2 things I would change? Try to simplify what actually needs to happen because you're like in the weeds of it now. Second thing I would have you do is then think through, can I solve it with just inputs? Can I solve it with just throughputs? If so, just do that. If not, you need a balance. Third thing is you make it a thing, create a fucking hat, make a leaderboard, make it a phrase, something, have to make it a thing. You make a brand so that when I say Nike has a hotel and you know what that hotel looks like in your mind, so too, when I say 10-6, everyone knows what the fuck I'm talking about. And then you run any of the trainings or support that you need to, and ultimately you put 3, 4, 5 backstops to make sure that you follow up on the follow-up. If done, you're good. If not done, this is going to be yet another thing that you just sort of like told everybody about. It didn't really go anywhere. Did y'all feel? Cool. Everybody's with it. Sweet. Couple of tricks. Now we can go into tricks. All right. Number 1, you need to get everybody involved early. So as much as you can be like, hey, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? Where is this going? Get them bought in. 2, you want to get the cool kids to become ambassadors. Remember like the hot chicks in college who were like, we love this bar. Here's a t-shirt. That's what we need you guys to have hot chicks giving out t-shirts at the bar. Okay. So that when, by the way, I've always found this to be true. When you go to a team people, it's a bell curve. Some are like high performers, some are bottoms, everyone's in the middle. If I go to the high performers and I go, I think we should do 10, they're like, we should probably do 15. If I go to the middle performers, I go, I think we should do 10. They go, we can probably do 10. If I go to the low performers, I go, I think we should do 10. They should be like, honestly, like you don't put us in a position to get to 10. We should probably do 6. So if I go to the high performers person, I'm like, yo, these guys know 10 is legit and they're ambassadors for it. Everybody else gets in line because what they're basically saying, if they say anything other than I believe in 10, is I'm not a high performer. I'm not a 10. The captain of the team said 10 is doable, so then everybody else just agrees implicitly. So you want those guys as ambassadors. Next thing, and I said this in the previous one, but I'm going to say it one more time because he said that it was really helpful, this analogy that I stole from somebody else. When you're in the driver's seat in the car, going 80 doesn't feel fast, even in traffic. But in your passenger seat, it feels like you're way out of control. This is why, like, you and your wife's driving, you're like, dude, are you watching? Brakes, 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 brakes. And it's why your wife is yelling at you in the car, too, for like, slow down, slow down. It's not just because they're fucking pussies and so are you. It's also because it feels so much different. They don't have the context of, like, I see the car ahead of me, and I'm actually already kind of braking, and my foot's off the gas pedal, and I'm already clocking the guy on my left. They don't know that. So how does this relate? So in here, when I say to this team, 10-6, we're doing all the stuff, they're like, holy shit, so much is changing. There's a scorecard, there's a leaderboard, there's an app. What else are we going to change? And suddenly it feels like it's 2003 again, and we're talking about gay marriage. What? Gays want to get married? What's next? Dogs? And you're like, what? No, dude. Why do you think that's going to happen? That's sort of like when your wife's like, you're going to 85. Do you see the guy? And you're like, yes, I see the guy. Well, I didn't know that you saw the guy. Okay. It's because they can't anticipate. So when your reps are saying, when you're saying change 1, 2, 3 is happening, they're like, so you're saying there's going to be like 9 more changes. And you're like, no, but they think there will. So just the reason I bring this up right now, I'm making a shit ton of changes because I have to, and I'm going to have some casualties as a result. But in most organizations, and this is going back to my first point about making it simple, you can't make as much change as you think. In your mind, you're like, dude, all we have to do is like change the intro, change the outro, and a couple of things in the CRM. It's just one button. It's not, because they're like, it's just one button amongst the other 85 things that I'm just trying to remember that I haven't been reminded of. And there's probably 95 more things coming. So I need to put this into like RAM, whatever that is, like fast access memory. I can't put it into long access memory. So it's like very, very challenging. So you need to go deeper on the change. Don't try to do a lot of change over time. Cool. Hope this is helpful. Get the fuck out of here, boys. XO, gossip.
All right. Thank you.